Hello there. A friendly hello to everybody in the audience. Thank you for choosing our presentation of the article, Can Comparative Judgment Improve Students' Product Service System Design? Welcome on behalf of myself, Ivo Dewit, and my co-authors, David Corradi and Maarten Goossens. So, I'm from the Department of Product Development within the Faculty of Design Sciences. Our university in Antwerp in Belgium counts more or less 20,000 students and 6,000 staff members, to get an idea. So I teach one of the courses called Product Service System Design. It's called EPO Project, Integrated Systems. Kind of a little background here. Product service systems are systems in which products and services are designed in unison, reinforcing each other, putting emphasis on the whole and how they work together, rather than being designed separately. Tools and methods to support PSS design exist in different formats. However, there is a big difference in having the right tools, having the competences to act on them, and being able to question the overall approach independently. Now, in a learning context, our students are taught with this PSS design toolkit, which has been made during my PhD research. In cognitive terms, learners require to make links and translate between different levels of aspects of products, services, and systems and its design, and this while at the same time never losing sight of the bigger picture. So it requires advanced analytical thinking, for instance, understanding every small part of a product and service. It also requires synthetic competencies, for instance, how the parts lead to an innovative design. And lastly, it requires metacognitive awareness. Why is a combination of several subparts a better service while other combinations do not? In contrast to traditional product design, the main challenge for students, designers, is to cope with this increased complexity and the multitude of interacting variables. Additionally, it requires students to manage a variety of underlying design processes where early representation and communication are key for the design phase. This year we had 72 master students in product development that were placed in groups of 4. They participate in my course called EPO Project Integrated Systems, and to achieve the objectives for this 12-week design course, our student teams are expected to generate user insights, explore new opportunities, and then define and design a relevant product service system concept for a given context. This year it was the future of urban health. Now, during the course, we use the comparative judgment tool to allow students to give feedback and rank each other's weekly presentations. Also, the midterm presentation and final presentation was evaluated. This presentation is every time a short video visualizing their project, ranging from 2 to 10 minutes, which allows student teams for comparing other projects, their design process and progress. The evaluative role of comparative judgment in here is both formative, weekly and midterm presentations, but also summative for the final presentation. So we ask the participating students in the end to provide us with a half-page reflection on the educational experience, and an additional survey was sent to them to ask broad and specific questions on educational quality, using and providing a detailed insight into the educational experience using comparative judgment. So you can see PSS design output is a little bit of the service, the product and the system behind it. And we are interested in the entire process, of course. But using comparative judgment, well, we do know that there is an issue apparent with students and professionals, and it is reliable scaling. The objective assessment of product service systems and dealing with this increased design complexity. Our evaluation was anchored by comproved, a validated instrument specifically designed to comparatively evaluate products of students during the design process, formative, and at the end of the course, summative. Based on these questionnaires and interviews, we list advantages and disadvantages of comparative judgment and the potential impact on product quality, reliability of judgment, and metacognitive strategies for learning. So, where rubrics usually divides the product into small aspects, a presentation is subdivided into criteria on layout, persuasive message, and so on, where each criterion receives a separate score. Comparative judgment, on the other hand, focuses on the entire product and compares the entire PSS as such into a holistic process. While previous research has found both a myriad of positive and negative effects using comparative judgment, our study tries to understand how students perceive comparative judgment during PSS design. Our research questions were: do students feel comparative judgment is a valuable tool? Do students feel it has improved their metacognitive thinking? And finally, what are the perceived strengths and weaknesses by students when using comparative judgment during a learning process and for a final assessment? So what you see here is the student view. You see a video on the left and on the right. Both can be seen by students, but also the teachers. And then students choose, after seeing the video, either movie or product A or B as the better product. And they provide feedback based on 4 criteria, being based on a user and client perspective, positive and negative feedback, and feed forward, of course. So this feedback is given to a group, and you can see on the top side in green pros, and in the red below the cons, that are guided by those 4 criteria. On average, we can tell you that 100 plus comments coming from 40 students for each project. So it's a lot, and it's interesting to read. Specifically for students, knowing that when their product is uploaded, it can be compared, and they can also see how far comparisons are gone. On the left side, you can see how many assessments that we did for the course, being the formative and the summative evaluations. The teacher view also allows us to see who has done the assessment, how much time have they spent on each comparison, and how much feedback did they leave behind for specific projects. We can also check the quality of the feedback. Furthermore, when the reliability is high enough, in our case it was 0.9, the system allows for a configuration of the ranking and the grading for the teaching staff, which is kind of interesting. We provide a minimum course grade, a maximum course grade, and then we choose which group has the, let's say, the lowest quality and the highest quality, and the system actually calculates the rest based on all the assessments of the students and professors. So besides the ranking, you can also see here in the middle the grade. And this grade provides us as teachers a way to discuss on the feedback and the quality of our projects. So we can see the good, the bad, and the ugly. All the projects are aligned. You can see the worst and the best project and everything in between. And as you can see below, you can see the grades the group received from the rubrics we did, which is a benchmark for the grades that we received from the software from the comparative judgment. So there where the differences are high, we have a discussion as teachers and check the results and the feedback of the students to compare whether we were right or not. So it's actually interesting for the teacher side as well. So where rubrics are often too abstract for students to really grasp what qualities for a given competence, comparative judgment shows exemplars to students, which is more relevant when it comes to understanding what quality is. By analyzing exemplars, students experience how high-quality products differ from average products. Furthermore, by comparing products, learners are taught to think why product A is better than product B and learn to articulate why A is better than B. This thinking process is often also called and referred to as metacognition. And when learners compare each other's products or services, both during and at the end of an educational process, learners are also comparing each other's analytical and synthetical thinking process, which can improve their metacognitive awareness of the product development process itself as well. Compared to using rubrics, the comparative assessment is done in terms of a holistic process, whereby the whole is more than its aspects. Or when it comes to designing with increased complexity, specifically for us with product service system design, for us it results in a more reliable grading for these complex assignments. Some strengths from the student quotes: if we had given a live presentation in an auditorium for the midterm, we would not have received as much feedback as now. So remember that on average 100 feedback lines from students, on average 40 people. Making a short interim video helped to motivate us and prepare for creating the final video. And the other videos were also inspiring for our own work. This was also the ideal moment to critically review our own work. Some weaknesses from comparative judgments quoted by the students: from a certain length of the video in this case, you felt like only a part was viewed each time, resulting in less informed and negative reactions from people who did not completely understand or gave a comment that was totally irrelevant, or at least less than I expected when receiving feedback. Also, a weakness is rating is so black and white. Sometimes the idea of product A was better, but product B had the better video, for instance. How do you say which one is better? So we are rethinking a little bit how we should ask better questions and guide the students a little better before doing the comparative judgment. But in the end, we think comparative judgment motivates students to envision early stage representations of the design process and envisioning possibilities and next steps. A continuous comparative judgment of interim products supports students to explicit their design process to others, which is otherwise largely tacit knowledge. Comparative judgment also allows streamlining the design process. In the progress, you have a benchmark between peers, the other student groups in their projects, and specifically for PSS design, communicating this complexity is interesting for everybody else. Other solutions to compare with in comparative judgment also allows comparisons between design teams in terms of better and worse projects, but also in judgment of best. And this is quite clear. Of course, when initiating this course, the design process, its progress and its intermediate presentations would normally take place on campus. However, due to COVID-19, the educational program passed rather quickly in Code Red, forcing us to completely rethink our remote approach. But we were actually really happy to be pioneering with comparative judgment. So, while comparative judgment has proven to adding to the understanding of evaluation as part of students' active education in this one course, we would still like to see how comparative judgment can contribute directly or indirectly to the development of certain necessary skills and competences for future design professionals. Considering some differences between student usage of comparative judgment and its effects on the assessor evaluation, how can we make use of comparative judgment to assist in a more objective and reliable evaluation for us as teachers? And as last one, exchanging experiences with other design academics and evaluating their students' design projects with a comparable degree of complexity and duration, like the IPO course with PSS design projects. We would like to be interested in other people engaging in this as well. So feel free to contact us. We think comparative judgment results help us frame a more cohesive story for the support in peer assessor evaluation and student engagement in the process of PSS design. I'd like to thank you on behalf of my co-authors, and when somebody is interested in PSS design or the comparative judgments, feel free to contact us. Thank you for listening.